Most people don't fail because they don't have a vision. They fail because they don't execute. Welcome to the Uncontested Vision Podcast. I'm your host, Zarin Michael. This podcast isn't just about what I'm building. It's about the journey and the process. The things we're afraid to say out loud. I'm not above that. I deal with that too. But I made a decision to move forward anyway. And if you find yourself in that same space, then you're in the right place. Let's do it together.
Tell me how we get here. Tell me where we finna go. I thought you always be here. You could at least let me know.
How much of our pain comes from reality? And how much of it comes from the future that we imagined? A lot of times we go through things, we go through losses, we take L's, and we grieve these things. But a lot of those times we're not really grieving that specific thing or person or opportunity or job. We are really grieving the expectations. This is a very important, I would say, topic or chapter in my life, as I've had to deal with this over the last, I would say, year or so. As you continue to grow, as you continue to build, as you continue to expand your role, whether that be with work, within friendships, within your circles, a lot of times those roles and responsibilities, they continue to expand. And as those responsibilities expand, and it creates a pressure internally that many people may not often understand or even see. They may not even see it visibly. That pressure, that expectation creates invisible contracts in your life. And that's something that I've discussed, something that I've also explored within the mini-series of Devin, which you can check out here below. But that's something that I've explored as I've understood, as I've continued to grow and build more expectations, more titles, more all these things that we continue to grasp for because that's our idea of what success is, but not understanding that a lot of times it's not. Once you go through it, you realize it doesn't bring you the peace that you thought it would. And as these expectations continue to pile on, that's how disappointments can occur. And that's really the most important thing. Those are the times when you're disappointed, when you place and allow expectations to be stuck to something or someone, and then they don't fulfill those expectations, then you're disappointed. Or in life, you have an expectation for how your life is going to go, how your career is going to go. And then it doesn't go exactly how you expect. So then you're disappointed. And on and on. And that disappointment is displayed when the gap between those expectations and reality are shown. Again, the expectations, the timelines of careers. When I was 18 and I first got into the music business, I thought I was going to be home. I thought that what I was building at the time, what I was putting out, what I was releasing, everything that I was accomplishing at the time, I thought it was enough. And then years later, I realized that I really wasn't putting in the work that was necessary. Of course, I didn't really realize that until I had grown up, essentially. But at that time, I thought that this was it. And if I didn't blow up, if they didn't listen to what I was putting out or didn't understand the story, then that was on them. They was just stupid. Which, in a way, you have to have those thoughts remain, but at a minimal level, and understand that, again, first off, to go back, everything's on God's time. That's everything. I don't have any control over anything, essentially. God has the final say. Again, it's all in his timing. So once you understand that you can't control everything, then those expectations begin to change. And I started to understood that you can, to go back a little bit, you can have expectations, just not for people or worldly things. It's different having an expectation towards God to understand that He gonna bring you through every avenue, and that there is no way that God can disappoint me. No way. It's no way He could, because on the flip side, there's no way I could disappoint Him. I'm accepted for who I am through His eyes. I understand that naturally we sin, but intentionally my day-to-day is to avoid it, as best I can. But understand that also, in His eyes, I'm not a failure. I'm not, He doesn't expect me to be perfect. He just expects my heart to be where it needs to be, and for me to continue to strive towards my purpose, which will be growing closer to Him each and every day. That's the main purpose when I open up my eyes. And again, just going back to timelines and pressure, just after getting married, I had to kind of accept some things once the fog started to fade. Not fog in a negative sense, but just once you get married and you get married and it's just like a Disney movie, right? You have your family, you got your friends. It's just the biggest event in you guys' life. And then you realize once everyone goes home, it's just you, your spouse, and God. But God has to be first in all of that. And once you lose sight of that, then that's when, again, those expectations begin to fade into what reality is, and you lose sight of what you're really doing it for and the covenant that you've made. And a lot of times too, we never really understand or saw, like at least personally in my life, I never saw a marriage or even a positive relationship, long-term relationship. So everything that I've essentially accomplished or I've put myself in has been self-taught, right? Just through the experiences. So just being able to, of course, lean on God throughout it all, but just going in firsthand and working through it and understanding that it's not of course, love is fairy tale like, but it's not like a movie. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, this is real life, real challenges, real things that you have to navigate, which will test your faith and test your resolve. But you gotta be able to push through and just, again, have that focus, leaned on God, and put Him first at all times. And once you realize that's the reality, everything else is just so much easier on your day-to-day when you wake up. And so once I was able to also understand, just going back to the music a bit, when I was able to understand that everything is in God's hands and it's on His timeline, when I started to branch off into different endeavors, such as the acting, UV, my business, I had to understand that the same thing applies, right? Everything is on His timeline. Just continue to put in the reps and be consistent. Obviously we're on season 3 right now of the podcast, and I'm looking for this to get to 100 episodes, 100, 200, 300, 400, 500 episodes, whatever we got to do to be able to spread the message and to give you guys value and connect with you guys. I'm willing to do so. Again, we're not towards the end, but I always just want to give you guys thanks and love for all the support that you've given me. If you're watching this video, whether it's 5 views, 10 views, 15, I'm just so grateful for you guys. And also, just as we continue to grow, and I just had a birthday, just turned 28. So the older I get, when you continue to compare your life to social media and to others, then you'll start to think that your timeline is off, that everything is not going according to plan. You're not where you want to be by this age and all this. But again, for one, you never intentionally put your focus and purpose on God. That's one. And for two, you never intentionally stay consistent enough to build what you thought you wanted to build. This is really radical honesty, right? This allowed me to just really look at my life and see where I really needed to work, what I was really willing to do. A lot of times we say we want these things, but we really not willing to put in the work for real. So ask yourself, are you really willing to put in the work? Are you really willing to sacrifice, certain things, certain lifestyle habits that you have to get to the end of the road, to get to really where you want to be? Are you willing to sacrifice all this worldly shit, all these worldly things to get closer to God? And once you do that and get closer to Him, then He'll continue to align you on the timeline that He has set for you. So with that, again, just leading into the radical acceptance and acceptance of reality, but also in that same breath, not lowering my ambition once I started to accept reality. Like, of course, I understand that there's things I can't control. There are, of course, things that I strive for and that I would like. But that's not going to change within me. It's just understanding who I am and knowing that God is going to be able to release that pressure if I put it all at His doorstep, right? He gave me the uncontested vision. He instilled it in me. So He's not saying for me to dial it back. He's just saying for me to dial back the expectation of the timeline of when I would want things to occur. So just continuous prayer and just continuous building and just focus. Another real problem that I discovered is the danger of attaching identity to outcomes. So if you think that, all right, if I don't reach this success, or if I don't reach this certain point, then I don't have anything, or I'm not anything, or I don't know who I am. Again, I know we talked about this the whole time, but you only gonna find that identity through Christ, through God, and whatever you believe in. Of course, I always like to just be honest with you guys and communicate what my faiths are, but I never want to force these things on you guys. So, I assume if you're still watching, if you're still tuned in and you know me, know who I am as a person, as a man, and you understand that my faith is a very important value that I have. So I want you guys to just understand that the outcomes and the titles and none of those things are going to make you who you are as a person, as a man. Just continue to build, continue to be consistent, continue to bring value to others. Continue to be there for others and be who you are. And I promise you that everything is going to work out and play out in the end. Release those expectations. Release those negative thoughts. Release those worldly views. Release everything that is not getting you closer or that's holding you back from the point that you want to be at. You can, of course, mourn expectations without losing that ambition. And peace sometimes really will happen when you stop demanding things happen on your schedule. I appreciate everybody for tapping in. We got more things on the way, more music on the way. Right now, I'm just really focused on the Unspoken Word short film. So we're just putting that together, looking to continue to build that out. But if you haven't already, go check out the Anakin EP, which is linked below, and also Unspoken Words EP, two of my latest music projects and two of the worlds that I just want to continue to expand upon and let you guys into. So let me know what you guys think. If you haven't got a chance to check it out, if you guys have checked out the projects, comment your favorite song below, and continue to stream, continue to share, and post, and let's just continue to build this together. I appreciate you guys, and I'm out. It's super.
Tell me how we get here. Tell me where we finna go. I thought you always be here. You could at least let me know.